Kremer and his kick-ass radio show, presented by Kremer Insurance.
We have with us today, not only is he just getting ready for Metamoris 4, going against a behemoth named Josh Barnett that we all know from MMA days, catch wrestler, the whole bit, but we have in studio the most decorated American Jiu-Jitsu player ever. Jiu-Jitsu royalty in the house, 2003 ADCC no-gi open weight world champion, and that's the most prestigious event in the world, by the way. 2005 ADCC super fight champion, 2011 he did it again, ADCC champion, 4-time national Machado Jiu-Jitsu champion, none other than the Boogieman, Dean Lister in studio. How are you, Dean?
Doing good. How you, bro?
I'm good. I think I had some Red Bull and coffee. I mixed way too much, possibly, but I just get excited when you're here. I'm sorry.
Drink a little too much coffee. I hate how that feels, man.
Yeah. Hey, Dean, we were talking about what's going on with your life, and you took out a nice little bill there. What is that all about?
Well, I hope I don't get sued for libel or whatever it is. But
right.
The toll roads, the 73 up at, like, that goes to LA, of course, from San Diego. I guess it's happening a lot of this toll roads. What happens is, it saves you about 20 minutes. So you pay $3.50 each way, whatever. And now they don't have a way you can pay by cash. You go through, there's no toll booth, there's no way to pay. You go, okay. And there's little cameras take pictures. Maybe it's free now. There's a little sign on the side that says, call this number within 48 hours. If you don't call within 48 hours, you pay $130 each way, and that's before they have late fees. So my friend from France, Julien from France, when I was in Europe, he took my car. He didn't know, it's not his fault.
Right.
So I get a bill for $260 because it's round trip, right? And then late fees, I come back, it's about $300. And then I just go 2 days ago to do Eddie Bravo podcast, and I go through it, and I realize it has this little sign. I call, you have to create a profile, you have to, get a password, and then it's just for $3.50 each way, and you have to put your credit card. It's just a big pain in the ass. They make it that way just to get, it's a scam to get money from you.
Oh, totally.
It pisses me off, man. So hopefully I don't have to pay $260 again. But I called, I did that within 48 hours. It pisses me off, man. These ways just to extract revenue from the population.
Well,
it's BS, man.
Totally true. We were talking a little bit about how I was getting those bills too, because I would go through. I think, you know what? There was nobody at the toll place.
There's no way.
So I was like, okay, I'll pay the $3 when I get it, and then I wouldn't get the mail. Probably my fault on that one, but the bills keep doubling and tripling and whatever. 106 bones each way for me. I've done 3 of those guys.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's BS. So if I was anyone, I would not use the toll roads. Just take the 405. Just go 5 up to 405. It might take an extra 10 minutes, but it's not worth the hassle. It took me 20 minutes just to, because I called, they stopped working. The business hours are, I think they're probably designed to be inconvenient for you. You call, no one answers, and you figure out the website. You have to do it takes way more time than to just take the extra 10, 15 minutes just to go, to not take the toll roads. So that's my advice to anyone. It's like that all around the world. In Europe too, they do have these scams. It's whatever.
Well, that's Dean's rant of the day, right?
Rants of the day. Yeah.
Rants of the day. Gives you a little extra fire even coming in for this weekend.
Well, now I can just focus on Josh. It doesn't make me fired up. It makes me relaxed, actually.
Does it? Yeah.
As I get older, I realize, when I was young, my training partner, Jocko, we used to call him a piece of training equipment. He's so ugly. But now he's a big brute of a guy.
SEAL, right?
Yeah.
SEAL,
Retired, he's an absolute badass. He makes jokes about him. He makes jokes about me. He's one of my best friends. Back when I used to fight, it was like, to fire me up, he used to slap me real hard. Wah, wah, wah. It's really hard. We just, you kind of see a black flash, you just slap you real hard. It was Navy SEAL slaps. They're not like little dainty slaps, actually. And it get me fired up, and I was young. I was 22, 21, 23 around this time. But now I'm much older. I don't need to be slapped anymore. I just have to be calm.
Right. Kind of like
save the energy. Yeah.
Clay Guida's brother, who slaps him around when he comes in the ring, in the cage. Yeah. Tell us about, Dean, your early years. You grew up. Your dad was a Marine, correct?
Yeah.
So you traveled all around, and story says from your bio at least that you started getting into martial arts because you were a little guy.
Yeah,
picked on it a little bit as a new guy.
Yeah, I wasn't a helpless little poor kid, but I was shy. I was real nerdy looking. I had lots of pimples, and I'd say now it's not as acceptable to be fighting as a young boy. Look, I definitely look. I was bullied, so I don't support it. But being bullied, but that's just a fact of life. You're never going to stop that. It's human nature to, if you're strong, to unless you learn how to handle your power, to take advantage of other people. It's human nature, unfortunately. So sometimes you have to fight to defend yourself. I grew up in South America. I told this story many times, but it's not. It's just the case of, if you're the only little white kid in South America, actually in Central America, I was in 8th grade, which is worse. USA invaded Panama. I don't blame them for hating me. It really wasn't my fault. I was in 8th grade, but yeah, my dad was American Marine. Was born in Camp Pendleton, Oceanside, and so down there in the Panama invasion, I mean, they lost thousands of people, let's just say it was 3 days of intense combat. It's 2 days of intense, followed by a week of just, let's say, low level skirmishes, and then after it toned down, but it was really dangerous. I was on the ground. I thought I was going to die. For 2 days, our bullets going through by the house. There were things blowing up in my backyard.
Wow.
It was, and then because of that, I just got in fights. Not every day. Let's say 3 times a week. 1 or 2 guys wanted to fight me. In 8th grade, that's when fights get more serious.
Right.
You're like,
you can actually hurt
14.
Each other.
You're not 8 years old where you get hit one time, the boy starts crying. You get 2 kids trying to bash your head to the stairway. Instead, it just makes you either want to become stronger or just break, Right. And so I was never really liked to fight, but I really wanted to learn how to defend myself. And I just happened to be one of those kids that my genes are to be a big person. And in my family, the men in my family keep growing until we're about 40. So I'm bigger than I was when I was 28.
Right.
25, I'm much bigger. So with 25, I could make 185, no problem. Now I could make it, but it would be really a big pain in the ass. So it's just one of those things. I think it made me stronger as a person. I do not regret those days. It's actually a good thing, to go through those kind of situations and to be able to relate. I mean, I think it would be the same thing if you were the only black kid in an area that was, I don't know, let's say all white area. Let's say you were the only Latino kid if you were the only Asian kid. I mean, if you're the only one, you stand out.
Right.
You're different. You don't speak the language, and you're small. And there's a reason for your country to hate the country they're from. Yeah, they're going to have the same situation, I think. And
totally.
So it's
That's
not
just
bad.
life, right?
It's a good situation, yeah. And now I speak Spanish, I speak Portuguese, I speak French. I mean, I learned. I use it to my benefit, I think. So
you definitely do. So how many languages do you speak? You're at 5 languages or 4?
No, the thing is, I can communicate in 5 languages. Okay, let's say this: I can read, write, spell, English, Portuguese, Spanish. So the 3 for sure. I have an accent for sure. If I speak Portuguese, they'll assume that either I lived there for a long time or was married, which actually I was married to a Brazilian girl.
Miss Brazil, right?
Well, she was Miss South America. She won a contest called Miss Punta del Este, which is like every year or every 2 years they have this contest. All the misses of all the South American countries go to this beach in Punta del Este, Uruguay. And they have this, it's like considered Miss South America. She won that. So she's on the website, missesdobrazil.com. So she's considered a Miss of Brazil, even though she never won Miss Brazil. But
right.
Yeah, she, that was an adventure in itself, I'll tell you.
Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about that and how important is it for these guys, these young guys today, especially as you're getting older and you're mentoring guys and they look up to you so much. How important is that to pick the right woman?
I
mean, right?
I could say that's the most important. Now, not to be a sob story here, but I actually don't personally believe in relationships anymore. I don't. I'm not really looking for one right now. But there we go. It might be a lesson to the young guys. Watch out because it could be. You could say the same thing for a woman looking for a man, absolutely. But I would say, but I don't date men. I date women. So right. My advice would be to people dating women, and that would be, be very careful because, if you're a fighter, if you're someone who really you don't want to have a bad day in the office. You have a bad day in the office, you get beat up really bad, you get
right.
concussion, you get things broken. You don't want someone to
career changes.
To mess with you. That would be my advice. So I would look at it like this too. Let's say I don't like the car I'm driving. I'm not comparing women to cars. I would never do something like that.
Yeah, of course, right.
I'm saying.
So, a lady from Finland, do not write us later.
Yeah.
Complaining, right?
That was actually from Sweden. No,
where was it?
That was an American girl, but it was something that happened in Norway. That we could talk about it later. Actually,
yes.
That was just a practical joke that went wrong. But this is an analogy. It's not comparing women to possessions. What I'm saying is, let's say you want something in life. If you just go all out for the most expensive, what everyone else wants, not what you really want, I think that you're playing into other people's desires, not your own. Let's say I want the car that I want. I mean, you know, if you want the lifestyle you want, if you want the house that you want, let's say you want a giant house just to impress everyone else, I think that's not usually going to pay off in the long run to your personal happiness.
Right.
I live in a little tiny house on the beach right now. I love it.
Right.
I love it.
Right.
2-bedroom house.
Couldn't be happier. Right.
I love it. I don't want a giant big house. Now, some people want that.
Right.
If you legitimately want that because you have a big family or something, I can see that. And I'm not knocking anyone who has a different lifestyle than me. There's so many different lifestyles that not anyone's going to have the correct lifestyle. There's a correct lifestyle for you. I'm just saying, in the case of women, it's like, yeah, I think a lot of times men, I could say the opposite point. Women are generally attracted to social status. You know, like this guy is this guy is this guy's a doctor. You know, it could generally say that. But yeah, men are generally attracted to this girl's really hot, and they forget the fact that she's really crazy.
Right.
She's really conniving. And there's not saying that women
more red flags than NASCAR come out.
Exactly. So I'm saying you can get the blinders on if you see a girl just because of her beauty,
right?
As I did, you know, and you realize that. Oh, by the way, my ex-wife, I won't say, her name was Flavia. She had a lot of good things about her. I'm not saying bad things about her. I'm just saying that, you know, it's amazing that you have to be careful who you trust with your life. That's all I'm saying. Same with women. Advice for men.
Well-spoken words from the boogeyman himself, Dean Lister. We're talking women. We're talking UFC. We're talking Metamoris and more. You're listening to Carlos Kremer's Kick-Ass Radio Show on WSRadio.com. All right, Wade giving me the thumbs up, producing another fantastic show. I've got the boogeyman in studio. None other than Dean Lister. He's getting ready for his Metamoris 4 battle against Josh Barnett. This Saturday in LA, it's going to be an incredible lineup. But Dean, we were talking first about how important relationships are and, you know, getting that person that's the right support, be it a man or a woman.
Yeah, you never know, by the way. I mean, you're not going to be able to just go out there unless you're the 1 in 1,000 just strikes gold the first time. You're going to have to learn from experience. I'm just saying that if you have a toxic relationship, and this does apply, of course, to men and women. I'm not being biased towards men. I'm just saying I date women. So
and
my
you're
advice,
a man.
So I'm a man. So my advice just tends to be that way because, yeah, I date women. But yeah, I just think that if you have a toxic relationship, it's worse than even just being single. Or if you're lucky, you have a good relationship. That's, of course, ideal. But yeah, so that's probably the most important thing you could do. Let's say I've known in my life about 20 the fighters that could have been high UFC level or world champions of jiu-jitsu. Let's say 20 of those guys that I knew that did not make it. I know other guys that made it, of course. Let's say about half are from bad relationships.
Wow.
The other half are from, they went to jail, they got into heroin, they got into drugs, or they got into alcohol or something else, or one guy hurt on a motorcycle and hurt his back. He can't train at all. He can't even train. He can walk, thank God, but he cannot train. He cannot train.
Right.
That's because
like
of
Frank Mir. How lucky he was to come back.
Frank Mir, very, very fortunate, you know, and he came back. But the other guy, and you know, that was just I'm not saying to ride a motorcycle is wrong. I'm saying that unfortunately that cost him his career. So I'm saying about half of the 20, about 10 of them, literally are, well, let's say 3 of them are happily married now. The other 7 are not happily married. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So those 3 that got lucky, let's say, got happily married, and they're not doing really they're doing something. They're happy, let's say. But that, even them being happy, they're not fighters anymore. So, but the other 7, divorce, or they have bad marriages, and they're not fighters. So I'm saying, yeah, for men or women, I mean, that's probably the most important thing you can do is who you decide to make your life partner. I think it's the most important decision outside of what you do with yourself.
You know what, too? I mean, these young guys are basically like, you know, normal guys, and then they do something well, they get thrust into the spotlight. They have opportunities that they never had before, and they have, you know, presents and gifts and tables and you name it.
That's the joke, and this is it could sound biased because, once again, I'm a man, but it's like this. Let's say a girl, let's say she's at 16, she's pretty hot. Of course, a man over 18 should never date her, but older guys will look at her, and guys in high school will just be dogging her. Wow, look at that girl. She's going to start to realize that she's really hot at a young age, even younger maybe sometimes. She can see, you know, married guys 30 years old will check her out. She's 16, 17. I'm not saying that's right. I'm saying she's going to realize that's happening, and she's going to learn how to handle that at a young age. And by the time she's 28, she knows how to handle that power.
Right. How
to do it correctly, or maybe hopefully not take advantage of it, whatever. But a man who's never had that ever in his life, never in his life, never. All of a sudden, boom, bunch of girls just, hey, what's up? Hey, what am I going to do? You know, he's like a 16-year-old girl. All of a sudden has all his attention, and it's a difficult thing. what's the Conan the Barbarian? One of my favorite movies, by the way.
That was great.
When Conan's eating his soup and he's just drunk and his girl's with him, and it says, "Success can test a warrior greater than the greatest enemy, greatest what would it say? Adversary.
Adversary.
And he puts his face down in the soup and almost died and push him over. And that's true. You know, you just all of a sudden you're nothing, and all of a sudden you're something. And that's a weird thing that a lot of people don't understand, and a lot of men don't understand either, because if they never got to the social status limelight of whatever it is, you know, as far as being a fighter, you get successful. You might get some local fame, and then if you get better, you get extreme fame. But that fame also dies, much like money can die and beauty can die too. And so you also have to realize that that's not going to last forever as well. Not to sound negative, but that's just the truth of it. It's temporary.
Well, and you know what else? It also seems as much like as a fighter, you have that a small window where you really can make or break it, right?
Yes.
And only a couple opportunities, especially if you're going with a big organization like UFC with Dana White. He's not going to look at you too many times.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Unless you're someone like you.
Well,
and that's a rarity, you know.
Yeah, you know, being in UFC it's a lot of weird pressure that once again you can't really. I can say what to expect, but you don't really know what to expect until you get there. Being a UFC fighter, it's hard, and a lot of people don't get those kind of chances in life. You might mess up your one chance, and that's the kind of let's say negative energy people put on themselves. Oh, I can't lose 2 times, or I'm out of the UFC. If I lose 1 time, I'll be out of the UFC. And if you think that way, you're probably going to lose.
Right. It's almost like the field goal kicker, right?
Yeah.
You miss a couple field goals in a row in the playoffs, you're done.
I love, of course, Michael Jordan, one of my favorite idols of history. He had this quote. What was it like? He's missed 28 game winning shots. He's missed, but he's made hundreds. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, the game's bing, and he missed it. But that's going to happen. It's just going to happen. And for anyone who thinks that's, I had one guy come up to me who was a 19-year-old kid. He was like, "Yeah, I want to become world champion," and he's all, "I never want to lose." And I said, "That's great. No one wants to lose." I said, "What would happen? What would you do if you lost one day?" He goes, "I'm not going to lose." I said, "Well, what would you do in case you lost one day?" "I'm never going to lose." And I'm like, he has no realistic expectation or no. He has no connection with reality right now.
Was this an MMA guy? A jiu-jitsu guy?
But he was just one of those typical guys that wanted to be in the game because he thought it was cool.
Right.
And he didn't last very long, But he got submitted a few times, just quit. It's normal. It's
right.
normal. You find people like that. Yeah.
You see people come and go all the time. Especially in, let's get back to you growing up. So you got a lot of fights, you're moving around a lot. Then you came out here to where? Poway? Did you go to, what high school?
High school in Chula Vista.
Chula Vista.
Hilltop High School.
Hilltop.
I had my 20-year reunion in about, September 20th? Yeah, coming up soon, so yeah.
Are you going?
Yeah, I'm trying to go. I think I'll go, yeah.
I think that'll be fun, right?
Yeah,
I went to mine. It was a good time.
Yeah. What high school did you go to?
Crespi in L.A., San Fernando Valley.
San Fernando Valley.
San Fernando Valley, the smog and the beauty of the valley.
Were you a Valley boy?
I was in the Vons Club. Yeah, I was
Vons Club. You worked at Vons?
No, I just shopped at Vons. So.
Oh, that's a hard club to become part of, actually.
It is. It is.
A lot of qualifications.
It's my MS-13, right? It's my Crips or Bloods.
There we go. That's your affiliation. I got you.
So, Dean, did you start wrestling at Hilltop High, and what drew you to that initially?
Hilltop. What happened was my dad, American Marine. He wrestled in high school. Dean, I want you to wrestle. Just try it out. I was maybe 8 or 9 years old. I tried it out 1 year. I really didn't like it. A little kid doesn't really like waking up at 8 in the morning on Saturday and driving 2 hours to a tournament and come back. I didn't like that. But I did it for 1 year, and that actually helped me to get through some tougher fights in junior high. Because once you know what a double leg takedown is, even 1 year of wrestling just makes you a completely tougher kid, male or female. It does. So I didn't do it after that until I got back and got to high school. 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. I did it for 3 years. And I got to, let's say, almost, I wasn't even like state champion, nothing like that. I got really athletic around age 20. I don't know why.
Kind of a late bloomer.
Late
bloomer,
regard. Yeah. Like I said, the guys in my family, we get bigger and stronger for a long time. I'm still getting stronger, believe it or not. I don't know why or how.
And more size too, right?
Yeah.
What are you now, 230?
Yeah, I'm 230. I used to be 170 in high school. And it's just a natural thing for men in my family. Everyone has family, let's say, general things that happen. That's one of them. So, I started wrestling at, say, 10th, 11th, 12th grade. And then I started doing Sambo at age 17, 18. And I took 2-time national Sambo championship. started jiu-jitsu. I overlapped the sambo with jiu-jitsu at the right time, and that was good.
Professor Fabio Santos,
Professor
correct?
Fabio Santos, yeah, great role model in my life. Really influenced me in a lot of good ways. We had a falling out, and unfortunately, but we made up. And now we're all good, and
Right.
he's a great man. Really did a lot for me. I even gave him when we had our falling out. Actually, I won Abu Dhabi in 2003 as a brown belt, which is kind of weird.
Wow.
I don't think anyone has won Abu Dhabi as a brown belt ever. I don't think so. No, absolute division.
I didn't realize that was at a brown belt. That's
brown belt.
incredible.
I was kind of going through a political thing where people weren't going to promote me black belt because of my falling out.
Uh-huh.
And after I won that, in Portuguese, I gave him props. I said, hey, I want to give this credit of my performance to my first coach, Fabio Santos. And then, of course, I went on to say, but I do develop my own moves and they work and stuff like that. So it was pretty cool.
We just worked the Vulcan Open over the weekend, and I did interviews. Actually, presented Hickson Gracie with an award.
Nice.
But Fabio Santos was there and interviewed him, and he talked about you. He said, I asked him. I said, did you know Dean pretty quickly was going to be unreal? And he said, I knew he was going to be amazing right off the bat.
Yeah, it's funny.
Like day one, he said.
Fabio and there's a kid Peligro, which is
Jerry Costa.
That's right. Yeah. And several the older Brazilians. I was just doing, because in Sambo, in American sports Sambo, let's say, it's not combat Sambo from Russia, which is real badass. I like it a lot. But you're not punching, you're not kicking, and you can't do chokes. You can't do twisting submissions. You cannot do Kimura, you cannot do an Americana. You can do straight arm locks, straight knee locks, and straight foot locks, and with throws. So because of that, you get kind of good at those three submissions. So of three submissions you can do, a straight foot lock was one of them. I was pretty good at it. And jiu-jitsu, I was doing that right away, even at white belt and blue belt. And people were saying, hey, that's not really the best technique. And the joke was, when I won Abu Dhabi in Brazil, Jerry Costa came to me. He goes, thank God you didn't listen to me, man. Thank God.
About the footlocks,
yeah,
right?
because it was considered a little bit, not dirty, let's say lower class.
Right.
In Portuguese, in Jiu-Jitsu, they say that choke is the king, the arm lock is the queen, and the foot lock is like the dirty thief in the night. But it's kind of good to know the dirty thief. He can do some things that the king can't sometimes.
Well, and like you said, the dirty thief is what, 40% of your game if you leave that
40%
out.
40% of the 5 things we could attack: head, arm, leg. That's 40%, and I like to implement that in my game.
No one better in the world than Dean Lister on footlocks, leg locks.
I'm not saying. I would never say that.
I'll say it for you. You know what? We're having a great time. We're coming up next break, and you're listening to Carlos Kremer's Kick-Ass Radio Show on WS.com. We've got Gabe Scarpelli calling in just a few. All right, we're talking the ladies, we're talking toll road fines, we're talking everything with the Boogieman, Dean Lister, in studio, jiu-jitsu royalty, the most decorated American jiu-jitsu warrior ever. Dean, how did...
I'm not saying that.
Well, you know what?
Okay.
I can say a lot for you,
Okay.
right?
All right.
So, Dean, how did you get the nickname the Boogieman? When did you first start putting people to sleep?
My first, they used to call me, which I didn't like, Dean the Machine Lister. It was like, it just sounds like one of those tough guy. Yeah, I'm the machine. You're at a party. Yeah, that guy thinks he's the machine. I don't want to be that kind of guy. So anyways, even though the Boogeyman's a silly nickname, I liked it better than the machine. So it's just my first MMA fight. What happened was, the rumor is, I had my first opponent. I don't know what his name. He got injured. I arrive at the event. This is the time you're waiting the same day, and let's say gloves are just recommended. It wasn't. I think I needed gloves, but they weren't like really strictly enforced. So King of the Cage 4, I arrive and okay, we'll find you an opponent. Or if you won't, if not, we'll just pay you the $500. I wanted to train for it. I want to get my first match, and they went around. There was back in those days, there were people at the fights like, put me in the fight. I want to fight today, man. Terry Treblecock was the promoter's name, and people would just show up and they'd hope to get a fight. And the rumor is that people are like, okay, I'll fight. Yeah, all right, you're in. Yeah, thank God. All right, Terry, thank you for the opportunity. I'm ready. I'll fight anyone. Who am I fighting? You're fighting a guy named Dean Lister. Terry, actually, my shoulder's injured. The rumor is I went through like 8 people like that. And then finally they got me an opponent, and then I submitted him with a knee lock. And so that joke was the Boogeyman. I scared him. But that's just a joke. It's a story. I don't know exactly it was 8 or 4 or how many people, but that's more of a silly story. And that's the guys. The Boogeyman, if I'm at a party, it just sounds silly. I'd rather be silly than the Demolisher, and then one day you get demolished, and people are like, the Demolisher got demolished. It's just like a backfire. There's some pressure to have those kind of names. So the Boogieman is a silly name. I'd rather be silly than serious.
Yeah, and I think it's very fitting for you. We were talking foot locks and leg locks and all of that. How many submissions have you had by that in tournaments? Would you say
leg locks? Hundreds. I don't know.
Hundreds of
with
wins.
Gi, without Gi, overall my life in tournaments. I don't know, hundreds for sure. Leg locks. And then the arm locks, triangles, chokes, I don't know, another 80, 100, I don't know. But yeah, probably about 60, 70% of my submissions are from leg attacks. Knee locks, straight foot locks, heel hooks, toe holds, and knee compressions. Also known as calf slices. I use them all.
And I got one today because of you, brother.
All right.
Yeah, it's coming along. Dean's working with me as well on the foot locks, and it's ever since we worked on why I was getting mounted after trying it and putting that to rest. It's really helping a lot. What made you gravitate toward that? Because back then, no one was really doing that very much. As you said, even the Brazilians were frowning upon it, even though it was legal.
I'd like to have an open mind about things. And just because someone else says this is right, this is wrong, if they have more experience than you should listen to that. But there's always that little voice deep down inside of me that I never completely forgot to listen to. And I don't know. You look at boxers like the great champion Joe Frazier, left hook. Man, there's people that's their best weapon. They'll throw left hook no matter what you do. That's their best weapon as boxing. There's some kickers that days have a really good right low kick. Why? I don't know why.
Right.
Some people have a great jab. Some wrestlers have a great lateral drop throw. Some wrestlers have a great double leg. It just depends. I don't know why. Some jiu-jitsu guys have a great triangle. I have a friend, Jeff Higgs, also a black belt under Fabio Santos, a man who gave me my black belt, actually.
Right.
He had probably one of the best triangles I've ever seen anywhere in the world. All his game revolved initially around this triangle. He'll get your back, get a triangle. He'll get an arm lock. He'll bend an arm lock to get a triangle. I mean, that's what he does well. So it's good if you find that as a beginner, say what you do well initially, and it's okay, in my opinion, to let's say tailor your game around what you do well initially, and you can expand upon that and become more complete, because I'd rather have something I do well than become a jack of all trades, just be an average person.
So and walk us through your white belt, blue belt, purple, in jiu-jitsu. When did you start to really hit your rhythm and feel it, that you were causing problems for everybody?
Well, it's like this in any sport. I think even in careers or business, you're going to have your times you're going up, times you go down. You have times you go extremely up real fast. You have to be patient to find these times. They come or go, and you can't really predict when they happen. I've had probably 4 upswings. One was I just started. Say it was real strong, gritty little kid when I was 19. Started. I would tap people out in the guard just with bear hugs. They just wrap around their chest, squeeze them. They tap, and I was pretty strong for my size. I don't know, at that time, back in 96, 97, 95.
Bear hugs out of the guard.
It used to make people, cry. That's back when I was young, and I was a little meaner, young guy, you don't really know.
But you say this, ladies and gentlemen, with a little smile on his face, too.
No, it's well, you have to laugh at that stuff.
Right.
If you play American football and you see someone get completely plowed over, you just smile about that.
It's
painful because I'm smiling because I understand how it feels,
Right.
It's just something I understand.
You played football in high school as well?
Yeah, I was outside linebacker and defensive end. Yeah, so I was better at tackling people than I was at carrying the ball. I was pretty good at tackling people. I could do that pretty well. It was a good. I wasn't very fast in the 40-yard sprint, but fast up the line and grab somebody to take them down.
And were you entering tournaments as a blue belt, purple belt?
Yeah, back then you didn't have white belt division. You could not compete as a white belt. You really couldn't. So you had to be blue belt. So I got my blue belt within, let's say, I think 2 or 3 months, which is really fast. But that's because to compete, you had to be blue belt, and my coach, I think, was like, I want this guy to compete, blue belt, and I was just doing pretty well.
Awesome. We're talking Dean Lister, the Boogieman. We've got a caller in. It's Gabe Scarpelli. Gabe, you on the line?
I am. How you doing tonight?
Good. Gabe is the owner of the World Combat Series, and he's also doing so much for our amateur fighters in the community, but he's also bringing in, Gabe, the MMA Expo on the 23rd and 24th of August. Can you tell us a little about that?
Yeah, very excited to bring it down here to San Diego. We've been doing it in Northern California, Central Valley, for the last couple of years, and felt it was time to bring it to SoCal. So we have 13 different kinds of events and tournaments happening over 2 days. And it's just going to be a great event for the athletes, coaches, all the camps coming out. It'll be fantastic.
Tell us about the events. You have a jiu-jitsu tournament that's taking place?
A Muay Thai
event? Yeah. Sponsors doing our gi and no gi jiu-jitsu tournament, IKF, kickboxing, as well as we're going to host the very first full contact Muay Thai events in San Diego.
Beautiful.
With the elbows? No. What do you mean?
Elbows and all.
Oh my goodness! Yeah. See, those are one of those fear factors. Like we're talking about leg locks. That's one of those things that people just don't want to explore, and they're afraid of elbows. And elbows are just mean things. I know about them because I fought in UFC. That's open a whole new ball game out there, really.
Well, Gabe, we were talking with Dean. You're going to have celebs and big names like Mark Munoz down there, right? Dean Lister is going to be down there signing autographs.
Great guy, man. I know Mark very well.
Yeah. No, we're very excited to have you guys come out. I mean, this is definitely an athlete-driven competition and expo, and having these guys support all the local amateur fighters and amateur athletes who are trying to get where they are is just it's been amazing. We've had an outpour of just support, which has been awesome.
And I'm going to be there supporting as well, doing interviews and going around. That's going to be a blast. Really looking forward to that. You're having this at the convention center, correct, Gabe?
Yeah, so San Diego Convention Center. Yep. It's going to be a good venue. We're about 100,000 feet. So.
And how can people look this up on the internet, and also about our warriors that are listening in? How can they register still for the Jiu-Jitsu tournament or Muay Thai?
So the best thing to do is find us on Facebook. It's called MMA Evolution Expo, or you can look at us online at www.mmaevolutionexpo.com. And registration's still open for about 10 more days. We have athletes coming from across the nation for these different events. And, it should be amazing. We're going to try to do it. We have a lot of traditional martial arts as well as the, more modern arts, but we're trying to really pay homage to everything, including judo, taekwondo, karate, and there'll be some fun stuff going on.
If you don't mind, let me blow up your event a little bit here, just because that is one way. I say one of the biggest secrets of how I got, let's say, to where I am is by competing. And for some reason, you only get good at doing what you're doing by doing what you're going to do. So I don't know. You can just practice with all your friends, but once you go out there in the main competition, that's actually how you get good. And I love all martial arts. I like traditional martial arts. I like striking. I like everything.
Me too.
Weird. Yeah. So if you're doing your sport, you should be actually doing your sport. So come out and support and actually compete. I swear, even if you have a bad day, it's actually a good day. That's my advice.
And Gabe, you know what? That's great advice from Dean. How long have you been in the game and helping people out, helping the amateurs out, getting the pros involved out here and in Northern Cal?
We've been doing it about 4 years, but I've really been around the martial arts community since I was really young, almost 16 years. I grew up in the Bay Area during the Strike Force days, long time ago, and saw a lot of guys. I actually went to school with BJ Penn and Kyle Kingsbury and a lot of these guys who are coming through the ranks and laying foundations. And I followed Dean. I'm a huge fan, and I followed a lot of careers. And I fell in love with the sport, and I wanted to do a little bit more to create the awareness in the environment. It's not just a bunch of guys striking each other in the face. There's a lot of history that's gone into this, and again, showcasing all the individual sports that kind of brought the MMA star out has been our goal, and we've been doing it for a little bit of time now.
You know, it's so great. Gabe Scarpelli, a great man, a great friend as well. The World Combat Series is bringing the MMA Expo here to the Convention Center August 23rd and 24th. Gabe, my friend, thank you for being on the show with us.
Thank you guys so much for the time. We look forward to seeing you guys in a few weeks.
All right.
See you there.
All right, all right. Take care. All right, we've got our last segment coming up. I'm with the Boogieman, Dean Lister, in studio. Carlos Kremer's Kick-Ass Radio Show. You're listening to WSRadio.com, the worldwide leader in Internet talk. Are you absolutely kidding me? Dean Lister in studio. We're talking everything. We're even talking midgets, which is a topic that I kind of perked up with, Dean, on the break. Can you share a little of that story?
No, it was just funny because we were talking earlier about how, if you're famous as a man, you have social status. Well, yeah, so I was at Pier nightclub at was it Caesar's Palace? About 5 years ago. And I was in the VIP area, which is you have to go through 3 different checkpoints, and there's beds, and it's pretty cool. And I'm there, there's one really hot Latina girl, just by herself. It's like, she's kind of looking lost, and she just, and I speak Spanish, I go up to her, I go, hey, what's up, how you doing? She's like, oh, hi. And she looks a little shy. I go, "You're here by yourself?" She goes, "Well, my friends, they'll be right back." And I'm like, "Okay." So she sits down with me. We're having drinks. Her friends come back to VIP, and they're kind of giggling, and I speak Spanish, so I heard what they were saying. They were bragging. They went upstairs with Mini-Me, the little dude from Austin Powers. They went upstairs. And let's say he had their way with them, or whatever. They had their way with them, whatever.
Right.
And they're bragging about it. And I said in Spanish, "¿Serio estás metiendo para mí?" I said, "You speak Spanish?" Yeah. And they're like, "Oh, I'm so embarrassed now." And I'm like, "Well, don't be. Why did you guys go hook up with Mini-Me?" "Well, he's cute." And I was like, "So you just hook up with any little dude in a wheelchair? Is that normal?" They're like, "No, but he's cute." And I'm like, I think it helped a little that he was pretty famous. I think that was like the deciding factor. Yeah. So it was just funny. I don't know how that got brought up, but that was just a funny story.
but it did. And I wonder what kind of game Vern Troyer had in the sack.
My word, you're a tripod. Oh, yeah. What do you feed that thing, eh? It's like a baby's arm holding an apple.
Well, he probably just rolled up and, was like, "Hey, what's up?" Yeah, he probably just like, I don't know, wasn't there. I got there a little too late for it, actually, unfortunately. I didn't see it, but I heard about it.
Wouldn't that have been something to see? Mini-Me in action.
Wow.
Hey, Dean, get into Metamoris 4. Let's ask you some questions about this. You're going against an absolute beast, Josh Barnett.
Yeah.
He's probably coming in at, 275, 280?
Yeah, you never know. Someone said he's toning down. Someone else told me he's getting heavier. Yeah, he's going to be very tough. Yeah, he's very heavy, very strong guy.
Does the size really make a factor in with you anymore?
It's always a factor. The speed, weight, strength, experience are always factors, no matter what anyone says. "Oh, power doesn't matter." Yes, it matters. Speed matters. It all matters.
Try dealing with it, right?
Endurance
You'll
matters.
understand.
But the thing is that I really don't like facing people that are easy opponents. I don't feel any real. I'm not saying heroism. I'm not saying. Let's say I don't feel very noble doing that. So I like facing people who are tough, and he's a very tough guy. A lot of mutual respect. I've never heard him say anything bad about me, and I would never say something bad about him. He's a very accomplished athlete, and he's super tough. He's also a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's a black belt, black belt in catch wrestling. I don't think they have belts, but he's an expert in that for sure. He's very well rounded. It's going to be a very tough match. But weight is a factor. But I'm not 120 pounds either myself. So
Right. You're 230, 235, right?
228 right now.
Yeah. And how has camp been for you in preparation for this?
Good. It seems in history, my personal history, when I'm getting my ass kicked in training, that's when I do better in my matches. So I've been having real hard training. It's good to step out your comfort zone. It makes your mind expand, and hopefully that will show through in this match.
Well, and to give props for where you train, Victory MMA, just absolute beasts over there. I don't think you can find a gym with better instructors from head to toe. Great
gym. Yeah, we have, myself, let's say the director, the head guy for the no-gi, the submission wrestling. Yeah, it's jiu-jitsu without, with a shirt and shorts. Well, you better wear shirt and shorts in my class.
Right. This isn't a nudist colony.
Yeah, that's a different class or a different day. You have Jeff Glover, the head guy with the gi. We always cross-train I'll do gi, and he does no gi as well. We have Chris Lieben, great guy, man, and new addition to the team.
Stacked.
We have Jean-Alex Alves. We have Tony Palaflex teaching the boxing and kickboxing. We have yoga. We have
Jean-Alex, right?
Yeah, Jean-Alex Alves, yeah. Great guy. Yeah.
I mean, unbelievable head to toe. How's Chris Lieben been over there? Great addition.
Great guy. He has that mutual humor that most fighters have that you really, it's hard to get if you're not an actual fighter. So he's a goofy guy, but serious at the same time, just kind of like me. I'm a big kid. Once again, I think Chris and me will be similar in this way that we take care of our responsibilities, but we're still kind of a big kid. And mutually, I think we are. Yeah.
You know what? And that keeps life fun, right? I mean, do you, we also have on the main, you're a co-main event, and also the other two going at it, Andre Galvo and Chael Sonnen.
Andre Galvo, yeah. It's going to be a good show. I heard there might be some
changes.
I guess the
possibly.
Mass Day Athletic Commission is threatened to fine Sonnen $250,000 if he competes.
Correct, and I wanted to get your take on that. I mean, he's already retired from MMA.
Yeah,
and and he's already been fined for that, of course.
Yeah.
So now they're trying to get another $250,000 fine.
I think that's kind of a scam just to get money. It's just
I agree.
And when someone gets punished, you make a ruling. I think that's just kind of like going against your word to come back against that. I mean, it's just a witch hunt. We're just trying to punish someone forever about something. I mean, come on. In my opinion, they should just get over it and let him go on with his life. He's a man. He has to do,
what he has to
support his family. He has to, you think he should just go and die now? I mean, what's the end? I don't know. I think it's unfortunate. So hopefully this is not a problem.
Well, and he's a super marketable guy too.
Yeah,
so
great
well
guy.
spoken. What do you think of that matchup with
It's-
Andre?
well-
And Andre's been training. By the way, when I mentioned your fight with Andre, he was like, "Oh, I got Dean.
Yeah,
that's my boy." So
Yeah, Galvao was really cool.
you guys have trained together.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
We trained a lot for the 2013 Abu Dhabi. A funny story about him getting into England, 2013 or 11, going to England, and man, he just having some problems. The British immigration I think our immigration are actually a little ruder, but British immigration are a little tough sometimes. So he didn't speak English really well at the time. He does well now. He does speak good English, and I had to help translate for him at the moment. And of course, that's the year he won. So it was great for him to come through on that, and it was a good moment for him.
Quick question for you: the John Jones Daniel Cormier brawl at the press
wow.
conference. What are your take
My
on
goodness. Well, the thing is, I personally don't let people in my. I hate touching faces with another man personally. So,
Right.
so if somebody does it to me, I'll turn my shoulder and I might make some space. I wouldn't push him that hard. But then, John Jones came out. Man, I don't know who's at fault because they both just came up. The thing is, if you look at Anderson Silva versus all his opponents, they go face to face almost like they're kissing. It's not my nature to do that.
Right.
I'll turn my shoulder to not let them do that to me. They could like try to lean. I have kind of big shoulders, so it would be hard to lean that far. Have like a giraffe neck maybe to reach, but I don't like people getting in my face like that personally. It's just a weird thing. I don't know who's at fault. Both of them are.
Jones loaded up too with a couple big punches.
That's true. That's true. And I think were they holding Cormier when he's getting punched?
They were. Yeah.
Man. My goodness. That's too bad for Cormier. Yeah, I know Cormier personally. I don't know Jones at all. Both are great athletes, so I guess they're both going to get a penalty for that. Hopefully they don't get in too much trouble. I mean, I'd love to see the fight.
Have you trained with DC?
A bit. We've actually, we've gone over some techniques. Him with King Mo and him are real tight. And I was King Mo Lawal. It was his coach for like 4 years. I was in his corner when he fought Fejean and was Strikeforce. I was when he beat Gegard Mousasi. Yeah, I was there for him for a long time. He's a great friend of mine too. So of course I know Cormier. We've gone over techniques, but I've never actually free rolled with him. But he's super strong, very talented.
Okay, I had another question for you real quickly. Ronda Rousey, Chris Cyborg. Do you think we give Cyborg a chance? I mean, the world's screaming out for it.
Yeah.
For 3 years now.
Well, the thing is, I sparred Cyborg, and she
Have you?
She grapples. She's very strong, and she's very sensible. She knows about arm locks. It would be a tough fight for Rousey, but Rousey is. Man, she just trains like an Olympic athlete. She is an Olympic athlete. So I don't know what to say, but weight advantage and strength, I would give to Cyborg, but by actual technique on the ground, it'd be Rousey. But you never know what happens. A fight's a fight.
And Cyborg's trained by Andre as well.
Yeah. Well, she's all over the place around the world.
Right.
But she also has a good work ethic, and she's extremely tough. Very nice girl, by the way. Very nice girl. I've never seen her angry. Well, I have seen her angry with her husband. I've seen them argue a few times.
Okay.
Actually, just a real nice person, actually.
Hey, real quick, Dean, too. I know you're available for seminars. How can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, really easy. DeanLister@gmail.com. Facebook. Yeah, there's 3 Facebooks. One is my fan page, one is my personal one, and there's a third one. I don't know who owns it or who's using it, but there's a third one out there. So DeanLister@gmail is the best one to reach me at, for sure.
Great. Well, you know what? It's been an absolute honor, brother, having you in here. We wish you the best of luck in Metamoris 4 and the rest of your career. We'll have you back on as well. Everybody, Dean the Boogeyman Lister.
Thank you. Good to be here. All right.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Another Carlos Kremer kick-ass radio show on WSRadio.com. Thanks for listening, and have a great night.
Cool. Was that okay?